When you think about the name Rolls-Royce, the first image that often comes to mind is that of unparalleled luxury, opulence, elegance, and craftsmanship beyond compare. But how did a car that epitomizes wealth and excellence come to be? The story behind the creation of Rolls-Royce begins with two men, Frederick Henry Royce and Charles Stuart Rolls. Their journey to producing some of the world's most expensive cars started from humble beginnings and took many unexpected twists. This tale begins in 1863 in a small town called Wilton, located in northern England, where a child was born who would forever change the course of engineering and luxury automobiles. That child, Frederick Henry Royce, came from a family not known for wealth or privilege. In fact, it was quite the opposite. The youngest of 5 children, Henry's early life was shaped by hardship. His father, James Royce, ran a flour mill with little success. Despite his efforts, the family lived in poverty as the mill struggled to produce profits. Henry's mother, Mary, was tasked with keeping the family together in a house that was barely large enough for them all. By 1867, James was forced to file for bankruptcy, and this further deepened the family's financial difficulties. In a bid for a better future, they moved to London. At the time, Henry was only 4 years old, but he was already familiar with the concept of hard work. By the time most children are playing with toys, young Henry had his first job, working as a bird scarer on a local farm, earning 6 pence a week. But his struggles didn't end there. In 1872, tragedy struck the family again when Henry's father died, leaving his widow and children in an even more precarious situation. With the loss of his father, Henry was forced to take on additional work to help support his family. In his case, this meant selling newspapers and delivering telegrams around London, while also continuing to work on the farm. These early years of deprivation would go on to shape Henry's views on life and work. Despite completing only 1 year of school, he was determined to better himself through whatever means possible. At the age of 15, Henry took up an apprenticeship with the Great Northern Railway Works. His aunt provided some financial assistance, allowing him the opportunity to learn engineering and study subjects like algebra and electrical engineering. Although he couldn't afford to continue his education indefinitely, he didn't let this deter him. After 3 years, he had to quit his apprenticeship due to lack of money, but Henry didn't give up. He worked briefly at a tool-making company and then for the Electric Light and Power Company in London. By 1882, Henry was 19 and decided to move to Liverpool, where he continued working in the electrical industry. Yet his mind was already beginning to shift away from electric components towards something more revolutionary: automobiles. The story of Rolls-Royce also involves another figure, equally as integral to the brand's legacy. His name was Charles Stuart Rolls, a man who embodied privilege, engineering brilliance, and unshakable confidence. Born in 1877 in the fashionable Berkeley Square of London, Charles came from a wealthy, well-connected family. The youngest child of Lord and Lady Lanark, he received a superb education, attending prestigious schools and later Trinity College, Cambridge, where he would study mechanical engineering. Charles developed an early fascination with cars, becoming one of the first undergraduates at Cambridge to own a motor car, a Peugeot Phaeton. In fact, at just 18 years old, he earned the nickname Dirty Rolls for his habit of getting his hands greasy while tinkering with engines, a nickname that would come to represent his growing legacy in motoring. After graduating in 1898, Rolls worked on a steam yacht and briefly with the London and Northwestern Railway. But his true passion lay with automobiles. With the financial backing of his father, in 1903, he opened one of Britain's first motor dealerships, known as C.S. Rolls & Company. During the early years of his dealership, Rolls was selling cars from Peugeot and Minerva, and though he was enjoying some success, he wanted to offer something more. Meanwhile, across the country, Henry Royce was engaged in his own endeavors. Back in the world of electric engines and motors, Royce was still working at his company, F.H. Royce Company, which had grown over the years to manufacture everything from doorbells to electric cranes. Yet Henry's growing interest in automobiles led him to something extraordinary: his desire to build his own car. In 1901, Royce took a second-hand Decaville automobile and sought to improve its design. As he worked on it, he discovered numerous construction faults that spurred him to create his own car. By 1903, he was ready to unveil his own creation. the Royce 10 horsepower motor car, a sleek and sophisticated vehicle compared to anything else on the market. It was not just a car, it was a statement of Royce's commitment to perfection in design and quality. He drove this first motor car into town, and though it was just the beginning, it would eventually reshape the future of motoring. Little did Royce know that his momentous creation would bring him into contact with Charles Rolls through an unexpected connection. A shareholder in Royce's company, Henry Edmunds, had purchased one of Royce's cars, and in conversation with Rolls about his admiration for the vehicle, he arranged a meeting between the two men. At the time, Rolls was frustrated by his reliance on foreign car imports for his dealership, so when he was introduced to Royce's motor cars, he was immediately captivated. During their meeting, Rolls tested Royce's car and quickly realized it was exactly what he had been looking for. Within minutes of driving, Rolls signed a deal with Royce to sell as many of these cars as possible. The stage was set for the beginning of an extraordinary partnership, and what a partnership it turned out to be. Rolls and Royce were an unlikely pairing. There was an age gap, differing social classes, and vastly different education levels. Royce, at 41, had struggled all his life in poverty and had learned his craft through sheer dedication and hard work. Rolls, on the other hand, was 26, born into privilege, with an elite education and a deep interest in racing cars. And yet, it was their differences that would ultimately lead to greatness. In 1906, the duo founded the Rolls-Royce Company, and with it came the launch of the now famous Silver Ghost, a six-cylinder car that would be heralded as the best car in the world within just a year of its release. This triumph was made possible not only through the design prowess of Henry Royce, but also the visionary marketing genius of Claude Johnson, Rolls' business partner. Johnson, serving as the company's managing director, masterminded several brilliant publicity stunts to prove the car's quietness and reliability. He created a powerful advertising campaign that promoted Rolls-Royce as the best car in the world, a phrase that continues to define the brand to this very day. Although Royce and Rolls were the heart and soul behind the cars, Johnson's marketing and public relations strategy solidified Rolls-Royce's reputation worldwide. But the car's superior engineering came from Royce, whose relentless dedication to creating the finest car available became his trademark. For Henry, perfection was the only acceptable standard. His work ethic was intense, and he paid little attention to his health, often working to the point of exhaustion. Yet despite his physical toll, it was his attention to detail and drive for excellence that laid the foundation for what Rolls-Royce is today. However, no story is without its tragedies. In 1910, Charles Rolls, a passionate motorist and an even more ardent aviator, met his untimely end. He died in a plane crash at just 32 years old, after successfully completing a non-stop flight across the English Channel. His death marked the end of the Rolls-Royce partnership, leaving Henry Royce to carry the legacy forward alone. Henry, though shaken by the loss of his close friend and partner, persevered. Rolls-Royce continued to grow and eventually expanded its efforts into manufacturing aircraft engines during the First World War, fulfilling the dream that Charles Rolls had once proposed to him. Meanwhile, Henry continued to innovate tirelessly, always pushing for new designs, always working to improve. Sadly, Royce's health continued to deteriorate due to his years of overwork and poor nutrition. In 1933, he succumbed to an illness brought on by his demanding lifestyle, passing away at 70. Despite his declining health, he remained committed to engineering, completing his final design just hours before his death, a testament to his devotion to his craft. Rolls-Royce, having suffered the loss of both its founders, continued to thrive as one of the most respected names in engineering. Today, Rolls-Royce is owned by BMW and produces some of the most exquisite cars in the world, from the Cullinan and Phantom to the Ghost and Wraith. Under the leadership of CEO Thorsten Müller-Ottfuss, Rolls-Royce's legacy of excellence endures. But it is the vision of Henry Royce and Charles Rolls that laid the groundwork for the brand's extraordinary journey. The duo's relentless pursuit of perfection created more than just an automobile. It created a symbol of wealth, craftsmanship, and luxury. As we look at a Rolls-Royce today, we see the embodiment of their dreams, a car that defines the very concept of elegance, a car that would have made two men who once struggled with life's harshest realities, incredibly proud. What's your take on this incredible partnership and the birth of Rolls-Royce? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring business stories.